What's up, everybody? Kevin with Thor Cigar Vault here. Welcome back to another week of Thor Cigar 101. Forget the basics. So this week I wanted to cover something I thought was pretty interesting and something for seasoned smokers who may not know this, or even people that are new to the hobby, to really understand what's under the hood of their favorite cigars. And let's dive right in. So we got same plant, same soil, same seed. So today we're going to discuss how that same plant can produce completely different flavor profiles, completely different body, and a completely different strength based off of where that leaf is at on that plant. Near the bottom, we have Volado. These are lower primings that receive less sunlight than the leaves above them. Volado leaves are generally thinner, lighter in strength, and lower in nicotine. However, Volado leaves are extremely important to a blender because these leaves tend to combust exceptionally well versus their counterparts. Combustion is a huge part of blending. I personally don't think it gets talked about enough. You could have the strongest, richest, best tobacco in the world, but if you can't keep it lit, it's pointless. So now moving up in the plant, we have the Seco. So Seco will give your cigar a little bit more flavor, a little bit more aroma, while still keeping that really good combustion. So Seco generally isn't the powerhouse of the blend. However, I like to refer to Seco as more of the tool that a blender can use to grant you a little bit more of that aroma, a little bit more nuance, and a little bit more balance into the blend. Versus the Volada, now with the Seco, we are going to be noticing some thicker leaves. We are going to be getting a lot more sunlight, and this will generally come with a little bit more strength in the blend. You'll start noticing this gradually as we progress higher and higher into this plant. Moving higher into the blend, we get now into the Viso. So with Viso, we'll start to notice a little bit more intensity, a little bit more body. And as we've talked about with the Volado and the Seco, we're going to get thicker tobacco versus what we were getting in the other leaves. Viso is super interesting because it can really sit in that sweet spot for the blender. We're going to have a lot more flavor, a lot more body, while at the same time have a much better combustion than the heaviest upper primings of the tobacco are going to have. So generally speaking, if our Seco is going to be helping us get some of that aroma, some of the nuance and the balance out of our cigar blend, the Viso is really going to start giving us a little bit more of that intensity and a little bit more of that body to the blend. So at the top, we reach our Ligero. This is where the plant receives the greatest exposure to sunlight. These upper leaves tend to become thicker, heavier, and much more concentrated with nicotine. That's exactly where Ligero gets its reputation for strength. However, there is a catch. Ligero is one of the most difficult leaves to keep burning. So for me, whenever I hear a cigar is loaded with Ligero leaves, the first question I'm going to ask, well, how well did they blend the damn thing? Main reason I ask that is because making a super strong cigar is easy if all you're concerned with is power. However, when you can take that power and make it taste exceptionally well, that's where the blender is going to make his money. So the main takeaways I want you guys to remember from this is that Ligero doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a better binder. Seco doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be a better wrapper. These are simply where the leaves are located on the tobacco plant. And as we move up the tobacco plant, we're not necessarily getting better tobacco from it. We're getting 4 different types of tobacco that gives us 4 different characteristics. And that's what makes a great blend such an incredible cigar. It's about getting all of these different leaves to be able to work together. All in all, strength is easy. Balance takes a real blender. Thor Cigar 101, forget the basics, keep smoking.